There was a time when Daniil Kvyat looked destined to become Formula One's next superstar. He reached Formula One at just 19 years old, beat experienced teammates, earned a shock promotion to Red Bull Racing, and even stood on the podium ahead of future world champions. But just 2 years later, he was demoted, dropped by Red Bull, dropped by Formula One altogether, and despite multiple comebacks, he never truly recovered. So, what actually happened to Daniil Kvyat? Was he simply not good enough? Or was he the victim of one of the harshest decisions Red Bull has ever made? Let's find out. To understand Kvyat's fall, you first have to understand just how quickly he rose. Born in Ufa, Russia in 1994, Kvyat climbed through karting before joining the Red Bull Junior team in 2010. That alone was enormous. Red Bull's academy had already produced Sebastian Vettel, and it had a reputation for being brutally demanding. Helmut Marko, who oversaw the program, was known for making ruthless decisions. Drivers who didn't perform weren't given years to improve. Sometimes they weren't even given months. Kvyat, however, kept winning. He claimed the 2013 GP3 championship in dominant fashion. Instead of spending years in Formula 2, Red Bull fast-tracked him straight into Formula 1. In 2014, he made his debut for Toro Rosso alongside Jean-Éric Vergne. Most rookies simply hope to survive their first season. Kvyat did much more than that. He scored points in his very first race, became the youngest driver ever to score Formula 1 points at the time. And by the end of the season, Red Bull believed they had found another future star. So much so, that they made one of the biggest driver decisions in recent memory. Sebastian Vettel shocked the paddock by announcing he was leaving Red Bull for Ferrari. That left one of the most sought-after seats in Formula One wide open. Many expected Daniil Ricciardo to become team leader alongside an experienced replacement. Instead, Red Bull promoted 20-year-old Daniil Kvyat. After just one season, it was a huge vote of confidence, and initially, it looked like the right call. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and if you love motorsport stories like this, you'll be first to see the next one. 2015 became the best season of Kvyat's Formula One career. He scored podiums in China and Hungary, regularly challenged teammate Daniil Ricciardo. And thanks to his consistency, combined with several costly reliability problems for Ricciardo, Kvyat narrowly finished ahead of him in the championship. At just 21 years old, Kvyat looked like he had everything needed for a long Formula One career. Then, everything changed. The 2016 season began with enormous pressure. Ferrari were becoming stronger, Mercedes were dominating, and Red Bull desperately wanted both drivers delivering every weekend. There was another reason for the pressure too. Waiting in the wings was Max Verstappen. He wasn't just another Red Bull junior. At only 18 years old, Verstappen had already become one of the most exciting talents Formula One had ever seen. Fearless overtakes, outstanding racecraft, performances that had the entire paddock talking. There were even rumours that rival teams were keeping a close eye on him. Red Bull knew they couldn't afford to wait forever. The opening race in Australia wasn't disastrous, but then came Russia. Kvyat's home Grand Prix, the weekend that would change everything. As the lights went out, Kvyat got an excellent launch. Heading into turn 2, he locked onto Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari, trying to carry momentum. He made contact with the back of Vettel. Not ideal, but recoverable. Then, just seconds later, he hit Vettel again. The second impact sent the Ferrari spinning into Daniil Ricciardo. Vettel's race was over before the first lap had even finished. The onboard radio became legendary.
For sake, honestly, what the are we doing here?
The incident instantly dominated headlines around the world, but it didn't end there. Over the following races, Vettel gave Kvyat a nickname that would follow him for the rest of his Formula One career: the Torpedo. It was meant as a joke, but it stuck. Every aggressive move Kvyat made afterwards, every first lap incident, every mistake, fans and commentators would bring up the Russian Torpedo. Fair or unfair, his reputation had changed overnight. The irony is, first lap incidents happen all the time in Formula One, but this one came at the worst possible moment. Because Red Bull were already considering making a change, Russia didn't necessarily create the decision, It simply made it much easier. Just 4 races into the season, Red Bull made a stunning announcement. Kvyat was being demoted back to Toro Rosso. Max Verstappen would replace him immediately. Officially, the team claimed it was to reduce pressure on Kvyat while accelerating Verstappen's development, but very few people truly believed that explanation, especially after what happened next. On Verstappen's very first race for Red Bull, he won the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, instantly becoming the youngest Formula One race winner in history. It was the perfect fairy tale, but it also cemented Kvyat as the driver who had lost that seat. From that point onward, everything changed. Returning to Toro Rosso wasn't easy. Instead of leading one of Formula One's top teams, he was back fighting near the rear of the grid. His radio messages became noticeably quieter. The confidence he'd shown just a year earlier seemed to disappear. Mistakes started creeping in. His pace became inconsistent, and comparisons with Verstappen followed him everywhere. Imagine being reminded every single weekend that the driver who replaced you was now winning races. That psychological burden would be difficult for any driver to overcome. By late 2017, Red Bull had seen enough. With 2 races remaining, Kvyat was dropped completely, just 3 years after looking like a future world champion. For many drivers, that would have been the end, but Kvyat wasn't ready to quit. During 2018, he became Ferrari's development driver, working behind the scenes, helping develop the car, staying race-ready, and waiting for another opportunity. That opportunity came sooner than expected. Toro Rosso needed experience for 2019, and surprisingly, they called Kvyat back. The comeback actually started brilliantly. He looked calmer, more mature, more consistent. Then came Germany, one of the wildest races in modern Formula One. Rain, crashes, safety cars, chaos everywhere. But while others threw away incredible opportunities, Kvyat kept his head. His strategy calls were perfectly timed. He stayed out of trouble and drove one of the finest races of his career. The reward? 3rd place, his first podium since losing the Red Bull seat, making the moment even more emotional. Just days earlier, Kvyat had become a father for the first time. Holding his daughter shortly before standing on the Formula One podium, it felt like the perfect redemption story. For a brief moment, it looked like his career had finally turned around. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Pierre Gasly had struggled at Red Bull. Many wondered whether Kvyat deserved another chance. Instead, Red Bull chose Alex Albon, another painful reminder. Despite rebuilding his career, he was overlooked once again. By the end of 2020, Red Bull promoted Yuki Tsunoda into AlphaTauri. Kvyat lost his seat, again, and this time, there would be no Formula One return. Since leaving Formula One, Kvyat has remained active in motorsport. He competed in endurance racing, raced in the World Endurance Championship, entered the IMSA Sports Car Championship, and even made appearances in NASCAR. He's continued proving that he is still a very capable racing driver, just no longer in Formula One. So, what actually happened to Daniil Kvyat? The simple answer is a combination of timing, pressure, and Formula One's ruthless nature. Was he world champion material? We'll never know, but he certainly wasn't a bad driver. He beat Daniil Ricciardo over a full championship, scored multiple podiums, and earned one of Formula One's quickest promotions. The problem was, his defining mistake happened at exactly the wrong moment, with Max Verstappen waiting in the wings. Once Verstappen won immediately, there was simply no way back. Today, most fans remember Daniil Kvyat for one corner in Russia, but perhaps that's unfair. Because before he became the driver who lost his Red Bull seat, he was the teenager Red Bull believed could replace Sebastian Vettel. He had the speed, he had the opportunity, and for a brief moment, he looked like Formula One's next great Red Bull star. In another timeline, maybe we're asking a very different question. What happened to 4-time world champion Daniil Kvyat? We'll never know, and perhaps that's what makes his story one of Formula One's greatest what-ifs. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories about Formula One's biggest careers, controversies, and what-ifs, Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which driver or team you'd like me to cover next. Until next time, thanks for watching.